एनएससी में फिलहाल आप देखें तो आईएमसी कैपिटल मार्केट कॉन्फ्रेंस चल रही है, जहां पर सीएनबीसी आवाज के मैनेजिंग एडिटर अनुज सिंघल पूरे कैपिटल मार्केट के सबसे बड़े पैनल के साथ अब बातचीत करने वाले हैं। तो इसके अभी हम रुक करेंगे और देखेंगे यहाँ से क्या
Request to those who want to join this discussion, please make yourself comfortable and just keep your mobiles on silent, because we have a very simple policy. If anyone's phone rings, we give it in auction to the lowest bidder. So, and these days, I think even I'm assuming that in this gathering, all of you will be carrying some expensive cell phones, so you don't want that to happen. So okay, we have some familiar faces here. So I think let's wait for 2-3 minutes for everyone to settle down. I think थोड़ा सा जो भी अंदर हैं और जो सीट लेना चाहते हैं, please आ जाइए, because I think we have got a really good panel and it won't be nice if while they're talking and all this movement is happening. So
बिल्कुल। तो यहाँ पर आप देखिए तो अब पैनल अपनी तैयारी करता हुआ नजर आया और इसमें आप देख
and market stability, and we have got a pack panel, of course. To my left, Saurabh Mukherjee, then Sunil Singhania, Vijay Chandok, and Vikas Khemani. So we have 3 market stalwarts and someone who, as we were discussing in the lounge, is like, controlling the Strait of Hormuz. That's Vijay Chandok, right? So all these 3 market biggies rely on his data as well. So let's start, and I'm going to drift away because obviously the most important news which is happening right now is that there's a big political earthquake happening in this country. Down south and in east, we have in Tamil Nadu, perhaps the end of the Dravidian era. DMK is losing badly. TVK is making a grand entry. And in West Bengal, of course, we have perhaps after 15 years, Mamata Banerjee going and BJP, the right-wing government, for the first time in the history of West Bengal, rising over there. So that, I think, is phenomenal. Saurabh, not because you are a Bengali, I mean, I just want to know your view on how do you read what's happening in West Bengal elections.
I think both the West Bengal verdict and the Tamil Nadu verdict, I think these two should be paving the way for 2/3 majority in not just the lower house, more importantly, 2/3 majority in the upper house. Remember, at the moment, the NDA is roughly at 148.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think 2/3 majority would be around the 170, 180 mark.
Yeah, if you add AAP members, this 7 and
yes, I'm adding one. I think after the AAP migration, 148, and 2/3 is what the government would need to get delimitation through, right? So the census is underway, as everybody knows, and as per the constitution, after the census, the government is duty bound to go back to parliament with delimitation, and for delimitation to go through, which is a change in the seat share, right? Remember, the crux of delimitation is the seat share of South India versus North India. At the moment, the southern 6 states account for roughly 1/3 of seats in parliament, and we'll see what the census says. But as many of us suspect, if the census says that South India's population share is down to 25%, which is what the suspicion is, then I think today's results in Tamil Nadu and West Bengal potentially pave the way for a epic seat share shift away from the south towards the north, and for that the government will need 2/3 majority in both houses of parliament. So today's results, I think, Anuj, have broader ramifications than the specific composition of the government in Chennai or in Kolkata. Momentous as though that is, I think the even bigger ramification is constitutional change, which I think becomes more likely than not after the remarkable verdicts in Tamil Nadu and West Bengal.
बट सर एक सवाल ये भी है कि बंगाल में लोग रिएक्ट कैसे कर रहे हैं, मतलब ये क्योंकि एग्जिट पोल ही नहीं आ पाया था, थोड़ा सा लोगों को डर भी लग रहा था कि मेरे भी जितने भी गेस्ट आते थे कलकत्ता से, उनसे पूछता था तो वो दबे शब्दों में बोलते थे, खुल के कोई नहीं बोलता था.
So I think across the country, right, whether it's east or west or south, we've got into a regime where the politics has become fraught. And even after the verdict, I suspect, even after the verdict, I think the next few months in West Bengal could be a little volatile. Remember, it's a border state. It's a state which has been through plenty of controversy in the last 3 or 4 months. So the verdict itself, I think, will reverberate for at the national level. But I think agla 2-3 mahina could be very spicy, very hot in Kolkata, not just because it's summer.
Yeah, it is very hot actually right now all over the country, especially hot in West Bengal now. Sunil, what's your view on what has happened today and how do you see that for the market? क्या जो एक वेस्ट बंगाल एक लास्ट फ्रंटियर कह सकते थे इसको, एंड मार्केट पे कितना इम्पैक्ट होगा इसका आपके हिसाब से?
So I think Anuj, see, we have seen in the past there are a lot of states which are quite large and very important, and I think West Bengal was one state which, for a variety of reasons, including leftist governments, right since the state was formed, had become like, I would say the slowest growing, despite having the biggest potential. If you remember, West Bengal or Calcutta used to be like the business hub, and slowly, because of the government policies, businesses exited the state. We have seen how a forward-looking government in a large state like UP can transform. I think West Bengal itself has a potential of becoming a $1 trillion economy, only for that state. So I think these, verdicts, and hopefully the new government would be very progressive, hopefully. I think we can add maybe 0.5% to India's GDP only by, West Bengal moving towards more progressive and, industry and business-friendly policies. So it's a great thing. Whenever new government comes, there is an additional josh. So we are presuming at least for the next 5 years, this government will be phenomenal. And I think same thing is in the Tamil Nadu side. It's very, very clear that, people generally across the country are very frustrated by the same political parties, by, inefficiencies. You can call it corruption, you can call it inefficiency. And I think someone coming out of the blue and winning, as you rightly said, first non-Dravidian, party to ever win elections. I think it's very clear that people are frustrated, and that power of that vote is clearly, coming up. And, I would say governments in other states better be careful, because if you don't focus on development, then that can also happen to it. So I think two big states, Tamil Nadu already a large industrial state, West Bengal, which has the potential of becoming one of the biggest, I would say, states as far as industry is concerned. Very, very progressive, and I would say from a 3, 4, 5 years perspective, these two states can add significantly to the India's GDP growth.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people would say that, the bigger shocker is actually in Tamil Nadu and not in West Bengal. Because, I bring this point, and I'm repeatedly bringing this point because, with West Bengal, the image that's been associated is what happened to the Tata Nano plant and what happened in the aftermath of that. So in that sense, do you think it's big news from the market point of view as well that perhaps the third or fourth biggest state of India is getting a right-wing government? How do you see that from the market point of view?
I think pretty much similar. See, when India got independent, and before that also, Calcutta or West Bengal or Bengal that time was known for 3 things: industry, medical, education. And if you see, sadly, post-independence, last 70, 75 years, and people from entire country used to go there for these 3 things. And in last, post-independence, all people from there have gone out for these 3 things. All 3 things have kind of gone from there, right? Does not mean there's a huge potential in the state, for sure, So I echo with pretty much similar sentiment that if you can unleash that hidden potential of that state, people of that state, just like it is happening live in front of us in UP. Yes. It happened earlier in case of those Bimaru states where Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, all those things. So I think we have seen time and again that a good government can change the fortune of the country, of a particular state. And if that obviously part of the overall GDP growth and progress which happens. So I see it's a very, very big change, and also it is far more important from a national security perspective, being a border store, we all know that there's a huge problem of refugees happening in India, illegal migration happening in India, and we can see how things are changing across the country through that border. So at least to that extent, I think even national security gets far more stronger with the change in the government. So in net, it's a positive. Nothing changes in the market tomorrow, by the way. I mean, these are all directional. Nothing changes in the market tomorrow.
Yeah, of course, there are a lot of core BJP voters also who would argue that, in the last 3 or 4 years, the BJP also has acted like left only, right? I mean, it's not too much different from what some other parties are doing, whether in terms of freebies or anything else. I mean, Madhya Pradesh is a classical example. Now we get to this topic that we are discussing, and in terms of what lies ahead for the market. And Vijay, let me bring you first, because as I said, you control the state of Hormuz here. So, I want to understand, the SEBI chief was here, and of course, whenever SEBI chief comes, the hottest topic of discussion is what's happening in F&O, what's happening in F&O versus cash, what are we doing more to sort of dissuade people from F&O. Are we seeing some kind of structural shift? In the last 3 or 4 months, have we seen a bit of a shift back to cash market from derivatives market, or am I reading the data the wrong way?
Yeah, good morning everyone, and thanks Anuj. Strait of Hormuz, I've been thinking. I hope I'm not seen as someone who's a stopper.
No, you're seen as someone who's most crucial in the demand supply.
Crucial is all right, but right now the Strait of Hormuz is associated with being a stopper. So I hope people see me as a constructive, safe infrastructure platform provider and not really a stopper. So, controversial introduction, but nonetheless, my 2 bits.
No, I didn't mean that. If you felt that.
No. On the lighter side, yeah. So I before I get into the derivative parts, we had that very interesting discussion on the recent developments. I just thought I'll add my 2 bits. To me, it's one and straight. I think clearly people are fed up with what's on the table. They want something fresh. They want something new. I think that's a big message for me. Now, how does it impact markets? It is to be seen how that new stuff on the table is going to actually perform from a development point of view. But whatever was happening, I think people were fed up. I think that's clearly a signal. You talked about markets and the recent developments, and particularly on the F&O side. I would say that a little bit of history deta hu main, so that we get a perspective there. Many years back, before COVID, I think Indian market was already a cash market. 3% of volumes were, way back in 16, 3% of volumes were F&O. And then COVID happened, and that was a time when, in a way, a structural change was happening in India, with new age brokers coming in, making things cheap, easy access, a number of self-styled influencers propped up, the market gurus, they gave advice, low cost, people entered, and we saw the market growth. I was just tracing back the numbers. 21, this number was about 8 lakh crore, jumped up to about 16 lakh crore, and finally, at its peak, a year and a half back or so, it crossed 5.34 or something like that, trillion rupees on an ADTO basis, the volumes. Since then, I think some of the measures that we've seen has really had an impact. I think rightly so, scaled back volumes. Volumes have come to about 250 trillion rupees now on an ADTO basis on F&O. So certainly it's reduced by more than half. So your point on data, I think you're probably reading it right. At the same time, cash volumes have started going up. We've seen the cash volumes now at about 1.3 lakh crore on an ADTO basis. I think both these signs are good from a market's point of view. The developments that are taking place on the tax side, the STT, as well as the developments that have taken place from SEBI side, more margins, increasing the cost is making the investors think about entering in a more informed, more measured, more considered manner. I think the nudge is clear. Wealth creation happens through disciplined long-term investment rather than speculative short-term trading. So some signs of it. We hope that the market continues to move in this direction.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Sunil, numbers diye Vijay ji ne, obviously aapke liye to music to the ears, right? As a fund manager and as an entrepreneur in equity market, क्या करेंगे इतनी धनराशि का?
So we are very small, Anuj, but I think from an economy.
Small, आपका फ्लेक्सी कैप फंड भी इज बिकम क्वाइट बिग नाउ.
Yeah, I think thanks to all our investors and for their trust and confidence. But I think we're all beneficiary of the huge tailwind, and I would say the regulator and all the the participants, including the depository, the exchanges, brokers, obviously funds, media. I think applauds to all of them because this whole ecosystem has been developed over a period of time collectively. But if you actually see, this is what the country needs. We have more than enough capital domestically. I think we needed it to be channelized in a way which could aid growth. And I think this is what this has done. Imagine if the kind of selling which foreigners were doing, if there was no support from the domestic side, I think the confidence in the country, the confidence in the capital market would have been broken completely. As we speak, we are in the midst of a war. Oil has hit 120, rupee has hit 95. Foreigners have sold the highest ever in the month of March. And we are fine, we are okay. We are lagging behind the world, but we have not crashed. Now imagine if things were to improve now with these election results and hopefully these two states start to fire and there is some possibility of truce happening. I think this is all the retail investors and crores of them and more to come. I think they would be obviously the beneficiaries because जो गोरा गया है वो आगे पीछे they will come and buy at a higher price. It's very, very clear. But we still have 45 mutual funds. I think there is room for another 50. People say there are too many funds. I would say that we have only 45 funds. When I joined the mutual fund industry in 2003, that time we had 35 funds. So between 2003 and 2026, the number of investors have become 50x. The number of funds have gone up only 25-30%. And out of that 45, 47 also, the last 5-7 are like 100, 200, 500 crore funds. So I think we have a long way to go. And obviously, I read an ad of a mutual fund that we are 1 out of 3 investors are invested in our funds. So that means they have 2 crore investors. And that got me excited because हमारे तो 1 लाख ही investor हैं अभी. तो हम तो 1 लाख से 2 करोड़ इन्वेस्टर तक पहुंच सकते हैं. I think thanks to Vijay and the others, I think we'll be more than happy if more investors come in.
Oh, absolutely. 35 से 45 फंड्स हुए हैं. उससे ज़्यादा तो डिस्काउंट ब्रोकरेजेस आ गई हैं मार्केट में.
I don't know, but that's actually a fact. I think we have some 47, 48 mutual funds. That's about it.
No, but गोरा गया वापस आएगा नहीं आएगा. सौरभ, we are waiting for last 5 years for this question. अभी तक तो नहीं आया है. And also the big risk is that this money which has come post COVID, इसने पहले correction देखा नहीं था. And now we have seen a phase of 1.5 years where they have not made money. Even the SIP investor has not made money. So for how long can this money keep coming, and for how long can we keep banking on this money, on just this liquidity alone?
So I think the title of your session, right? It's balancing growth, liquidity and market stability. तो अब आते हैं liquidity वाले मुद्दे पे. So liquidity has been the big challenge, right? RBI ने बहुत प्रयास किया है. I think last year RBI injected twice as much liquidity. 2025 में RBI ने twice as much liquidity डाला जितना कोविड के दौरान डाला था. पर जैसे सुनील बोल रहे हैं वो सारा पैसा विदेशी इन्वेस्टर निकाल के ले गए. राइट नाउ सवाल ये खड़ा होता है फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस इन द मार्केट, व्हाट कैन बी डन to prevent the foreigner from growing away, right? And the foreigner's answer to me is simple. If I get valuations in India which are 2x that of other emerging markets, with earnings growth in India which is half of that of other emerging markets, foreigner is saying I will do my arbitrage, right? So आने वाले महीने इस मुद्दे के लिए अहम होंगे. Let's see what the fuel price hike that will have to come through in the next few days. Last 1 साल में ब्रेंट का भाव अगर रुपये में कैलकुलेट करें अनुज, लास्ट 1 साल में ब्रेंट का भाव करीबन डबल हुआ है.
डबल हो गया.
और एडिबल ऑयल, इंडिया अपना 60% एडिबल ऑयल इंपोर्ट करता है. सो एडिबल ऑयल का भाव भी करीबन 60% बढ़ा है ग्लोबल फोर्सेस की वजह से, नॉट सो मच टू डू विथ आवर कंट्री. एडिबल ऑयल का भाव भी करीबन 60% बढ़ा है. साथ ही साथ आई थिंक डॉलर के अगेंस्ट रुपी करीबन 10% डिप्रिशिएट की है. एंड आई थिंक मेट डिपार्टमेंट बोल रहा है बरसात शायद थोड़ी सी कमज़ोर रहेगी. सो इन्फ्लेशनरी फोर्सेस बिल्ड अप सॉलिड है. आई थिंक इफ द RBI कैन स्टेप इन सूनर रादर देन लेटर टू डिफेंड द रूपी, आई थिंक रेट हाइक्स की आवश्यकता होगी. आई कांट सी द RBI बीइंग एबल टू डिफेंड द रूपी विदाउट रेट हाइक्स. अगर रूपी पे थोड़ी कॉन्फिडेंस वापस आई कि रूपी फ्री फॉल नहीं कंटिन्यू करेगी 100 की तरफ, देन आई थिंक विदेशी निवेशक आने की संभावनाएं बढ़ती हैं. विदाउट दैट अगर रूपी 100 की तरफ भागती रही as the inflationary pressures mount on the back of the events in the Middle East, then I think the next few months could be very tricky from a FII outflow perspective.
Vijay, I want to bring you in this because we're talking about the last 4 or 5 years. The entire market has been driven by domestic flows, right? पूरा का पूरा पैसा जो था हमारा ही है और उसी ने मार्केट को संभाला भी है. आपके हिसाब से आर डोमेस्टिक इन्वेस्टर्स डूइंग इनफ टू एंकर द मार्केट वॉलेटिलिटी?
Dil mange more. Clearly, I think to be fair, I think the domestic institutions have really held, and I think in the earlier opening comments I heard Sunil also say this, that we had a record sell-off in the month of March, and what happened finally? I think markets are still stable and still holding. This is thanks to domestic investors coming and supporting in a big way, and I think you also asked this question as to whether how long this can sustain. पिछले 1.5 साल से तो as you rightly said, I think investors have virtually seen no returns. 1 साल पहले जो SIPs आ रहे थे म्यूचुअल फंड में वो 25,000 करोड़ ऑन अ रन रेट बेसिस पे आ रहे थे. 1 साल ऑफ नो रिटर्न्स एंड प्लस दिस होल हरमूज अनसर्टेनिटी,
अब 32,000 हो गया,
मैक्रो, ऑल ऑफ दीज क्वेश्चंस अराउंड, एंड the last month is 32,000 crores. I think this is something which we are blessed, and I think why is this happening? I think a combination of things. One is it's some kind of a sign of a slightly more maturing customer, investor. I would also commend the kind of regulatory setup that SEBI has been pushing, because finally at the end of the day investors should feel safe. They should feel confident that he is investing in something which, notwithstanding the current slowness, absence of returns, is going to stand him in good stead in the future, and that's a very clear sign of confidence. So the kind of work, the regulations that have come, the kind of support that even I would say the infrastructure systems have given, because we've seen huge changes in the velocity of money turnaround, right? A couple of years back this was T+2 settlement, now we have T+1, and we are talking of settlement on a near-time basis. I don't know if that and when that happens, but I think the message is clear: make it more efficient for him, make it safe for him, as much as provide fundamental anchors. So it's a sign of a maturing and a more confident investor. And if these measures continue, hopefully there is more juice, because there is a lot of money to be made. But at the end of the day, the big question for all of us, and I don't think, at least I have a clear answer, how long this will sustain. Finally, at the end of the day, beyond a point, an investor is looking for returns. So the points that Saurabh just mentioned in terms of EPS, growth, returns, all that becomes important. The sooner that returns, the better it is for us.
Okay. Because someone who has in the previous avatar interacted a lot with FIIs, right? And now has made a successful transition on the buy side as an entrepreneur. What's your view? Because it's all good to say कि हमारी मार्केट बिना FIIs के भी कम गिरी है, चल रही है, लेकिन हमारी मार्केट ने अंडर परफॉर्म किया है, और लार्ज कैप की अंडर परफॉर्मेंस में एक बड़ा फैक्टर है FIIs सेलिंग. How do you put your thoughts on this whole debate?
So I think, Anuj, I think probably this whole thing is, say, domestic investor, how long it will sustain. This question has been coming, I think, for 10 years. And every time it's been doubted. Big miss, everybody has this. In my opinion, it is not going to stop. Because this is not a money which is actually chasing return. This is an asset allocation. And people who've been doing SIP since 2010, 11, 12, ever since I started, has made really a lot of money. Now, anybody who has made money knows that for 2-3 years, return doesn't come, it's fine. Right? I'll give you an example. My housemaid, my driver, everybody has SIP. They don't even know what's the return of the SIP. Now, this is the nature, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 rupees a mahina. I don't think this is changing, right? In fact, it is good. हम आत्मनिर्भरता की बात करते हैं, I mean मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए बात करते हैं, फाइनेंशियल मार्केट में we have found finally achieved self reliance and we are complaining about it कि बाहर वाले कब आएंगे, बाहर वाले कब आएंगे. अरे आ जाएंगे. एक टाइम था, biggest wealth creation happened, largest bank, largest insurance company, everything largest was 80% owned by foreigners. The entire wealth of Indian consumer in Indian economy was being made by the outsiders. Today Indian domestic investors are participating in equity. उससे बढ़िया बात क्या हो सकती है? So I think this whole narrative about doubting कब तक चलेगा is in my opinion completely far misplaced. I think we must give credit to the kind of another thing which I say, we appreciate सिलिकॉन वैली में जो टेक्नोलॉजी होता है, राइट? हम हमारी इंडियंस आर वेरी गुड एट क्रिटिसाइजिंग इंडियंस. हम हमारे बारे में इतना गंदा सोचते हैं. इंडियन कैपिटल मार्केट्स इन माय ओपिनियन आर वन ऑफ द बेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड. द काइंड ऑफ प्रोग्रेस वी हैव मेड इन टर्म्स ऑफ पेनिट्रेशन, टेक्नोलॉजी, एफिशिएंसी, कहाँ पे होता है T+1, कहाँ पे होता है इमीडिएट, आई मीन go and check in other markets what kind of. So I think we have been able to create at a low cost access to the deepest part of the country. I mean, somebody sitting in the smallest town can get access to thanks to the regulator, thanks to the infrastructure, thanks to everything else. I don't see anywhere in the world, but I don't think this is being seen with that kind of proud and it is being doubted all the time. ये कब तक चलेगा? एक second, I'm coming. I'm answering all the questions.
I just wanted to ask. I take your point. What I'm saying is कि I think it's both. मतलब अब fact ये है कि US में $1 trillion market cap companies are growing at 40%. We are not seeing that. In our
वो भी होगा. The companies US 200 साल से आजाद है.
तो ऐसा नहीं कि हम सिर्फ बुराई कर रहे हैं. मतलब ये
what I'm trying to say, let us see pride in what we have been able to create.
We should take
and
pride
secondly,
in what we
so what I'm saying is we have achieved self-reliance and I see nothing wrong in domestic flows coming through. Now coming to FIs कब आएंगे? Let me again say that two things. अभी पिछले एक साल में अंडर परफॉर्मेंस इंडिया का आया तो सब लोग इंडिया अंडर परफॉर्मेंस, पर उससे पहले 4 साल में इंडिया वाज डूइंग फैबुलसली वेल. सो नाउ कभी तो कोई हर किसी का टाइम तो आएगा ना भाई. पर अगर आप 20 साल का रिटर्न देखोगे, इंडिया इज द बेस्ट परफॉर्मिंग एमर्जिंग मार्केट इन द वर्ल्ड इन डॉलर टर्म्स. इंडिया रिटर्न इन डॉलर टर्म्स इज जस्ट लिटिल लोअर देन यूएस. तो आप एक डेवलप्ड मार्केट का रिटर्न 20-25 साल से डिलीवर कर रहे हैं डिस्पाइट ऑल आवर वीकनेसेस. क्या चाहिए आपको? सो कभी ना कभी इंटरनल रोटेशन तो एमर्जिंग मार्केट में मतलब होगा. जैसे कोई सेक्टर का रोटेशन होता है, आज आईटी का कम खराब समय आ रहा है, तो आई एम सेइंग जैसे फंड मैनेजर इंटरनल सेक्टरल रोटेशन करता है, वैसे एमर्जिंग मार्केट फंड मैनेजर कंट्री रोटेशन एलोकेशन करता है. बिग मनी अकॉर्डिंग टू मी टुवर्ड्स एमर्जिंग मार्केट विल कम ओनली व्हेन द फेड रेट स्टार्ट्स कमिंग डाउन. व्हेनेवर फेड रेजेस इंटरेस्ट रेट, इट्स अ टेम्पलेट दे हैव प्लेड फॉर 50 years दैट ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर्स पुल मनी आउट ऑफ एमर्जिंग मार्केट. सो अगर आप देखोगे तो पिछले 5 साल में जब से फेड ने रेज करना चालू किया तब से एमर्जिंग मार्केट में फ्लोज नहीं आए हैं. जो भी एलोकेशन हुआ इंटरनल हुए हैं. पहले इंडिया ओवरवेट था, अब इंडिया अंडरवेट हो गया. तो फर्स्ट वी वर सफरिंग फ्रॉम ओवरऑल आउटफ्लो, नाउ वी आर सफरिंग फ्रॉम इंटरनल. बट अब मैं आपको दूसरा बात बताता हूँ. आप सोचिए, आपकी एफआई होल्डिंग लोएस्ट एवर है इंडिया की. वी आर द ओनली टाउन जो 6-6.5% 7% ग्रोथ कर सकता है ओवर नेक्स्ट 20-25 ईयर और व्हाटएवर नेक्स्ट 10 years, राइट? आप सोचो, मेरा कन्विक्शन आज का नहीं पहले से, कि भाई अगर शहद है तो मधुमक्खियाँ आ जाएंगी. तो आपको अगर आपकी कंट्री में रिटर्न्स की पोटेंशियल है, आज नहीं तो थोड़े टाइम बाद में आएंगी. बट आई वुड बी वेरी हैप्पी द डे, इमेजिन व्हेन ऑल द डोमेस्टिक इन्वेस्टर्स आर पार्टिसिपेटिंग, we are holding steady when the flows are going out. What happens when the flows come in? You will see a euphoria coming here. And then you will be complaining valuations are very high. So all I'm saying is that structurally I don't see anything. It's a great place to be from a market perspective. Don't look at it. I can play any story in last 1 year, India has not performed, everybody has performed. That's not how investors should look at. Investors should look at 5-year, 10-year, 20-year block. In that block, India is the best performing emerging market. India's returns in dollar terms are a tad low, 0.5% lower than US market in 20-25 terms. Which other markets have given?
No, absolutely.
So can I just
I just want to say, don't shoot the messenger. I am not complaining. I am just trying to raise a point. Okay, so it's not as if it's me versus you. We are both on the same side. Sorry, you
so
want to say something?
I think I'll echo Vikas's point that I think हमारे stock market ने अच्छे रिटर्न दिए हैं बहुत लंबे अरसे से. इनफैक्ट मुझे चिंता होती है बैंकिंग सिस्टम और बॉन्ड मार्केट की वजह से. सो सी इफ योर स्टॉक मार्केट गिव्स वेरी गुड रिटर्न्स नो, एंड अगर टैक्स स्ट्रक्चर भी सरकार स्टॉक मार्केट के लिए आकर्षक बना देती है, तो पैसा बॉन्ड मार्केट और बैंकिंग सिस्टम से निकल के आपके स्टॉक मार्केट में आ जाता है. सो अगर आप देखें बॉन्ड मार्केट में जो स्थिति है, लिक्विडिटी टाइट है, बैंकिंग सिस्टम में जो स्थिति है, कासा मिल नहीं रही बैंक्स को, राइट, तो वहाँ पे मेरे ख्याल से हमको ज़्यादा फिक्र करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारे देश का अधिकतर डेवलपमेंट अभी भी बैंकिंग सिस्टम के ज़रिए से होता है। तो जिस प्रकार से दिक्कतें बैंक्स को आ रही हैं कासा उठाने में, आई थिंक वो मेरे ख्याल से द पावर्स दैट बी गो, उस पर आई थिंक गौर करना पड़ेगा कि अगर स्टॉक मार्केट को बहुत अट्रैक्टिव बना दोगे तो बॉन्ड मार्केट में, जहाँ से सरकार खुद पैसे उठाती है, राइट, 10 ईयर बॉन्ड यील्ड सरकार के लिए अहम है। सो दैट बैलेंसिंग आई थिंक नीड्स टू बी लिटिल बिट मोर थॉट थ्रू, कि स्टॉक मार्केट में प्रोत्साहन कितना देना है, स्टॉक मार्केट को प्रोत्साहन कितना देना है, और बैंकिंग सिस्टम और बॉन्ड मार्केट को कितना बढ़ावा देना है। एंड शायद वहाँ पे जो टैक्सेशन है, रिलेटिव टैक्सेशन ऑफ फिक्स्ड इनकम इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स वर्सेस इक्विटी, शायद वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा और ध्यान देना पड़ेगा अगले 1 साल में, टू गेट द कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल डाउन फॉर द बैंकिंग सिस्टम.
Okay, we still have about 7-8 minutes left. There's one important topic that we have not discussed, which is growth. Sunil, growth, earnings growth, it's been like a mirage, right? We're saying it's coming next quarter, and it looked like it was coming back after the GST cut, and then all of a sudden this oil fiasco happened. Do you think that's sort of put us back again on that chasing earnings growth?
I think, Anuj, you are absolutely right. Wherever there is growth, equity markets do well. So some of the emerging countries which have done phenomenally well, Korea, Taiwan, China, Japan, US, technology, are all because earnings growth has been fabulous. Korea has become 3-4x largely because 2 companies' earnings growth has been fabulous. And India has underperformed. One, it had become expensive, and second, earnings growth just disappeared. But having said that, actually, if you see, whenever pushed to the wall, the government of India acts. So January 25, when Trump came in as the president, we had a 1 lakh crore income tax benefit. July, August, when we were slapped with a 50% tariff, we had this GST. Saurabh mentioned about the used liquidity surge from the central bank. We had 125 basis point rate cut, and I think all that started getting reflected in earnings. So December quarter, we had GDP growth of 8%. Earnings growth, first time beating analyst expectation, coming in double digits. More importantly, the broader market earnings growth was 15 to 19%. And in fact, February, we started to feel that things are falling in place. Unfortunately, the missiles started falling in place. But despite that, I think you see the March quarter numbers, fabulous numbers. You see the numbers which the auto companies have declared over the weekend for April. 25-30% growth. Maruti at such a high base, growing at 30%. You know, and I think that is clearly showing the vibrancy. You had Hindustan Lever having 7% growth after so many quarters.
Nestle.
You had Nestle grow 20%. You had DMart growing at 15%. So growth is real. And this is despite what has happened in West Asia. I think we have to be optimistic. Let things settle down in West Asia. I think the inherent demand in the economy is phenomenal. Now we have to be lucky that this, gets resolved ASAP, because India cannot afford $120-30 of oil and so on and so forth. But at the grassroots level, growth is definitely looking like coming back. Before the war, our internal expectation was a 17-18% profit growth for FY27. Now, based on 1 month of little bit of an issue, I think it might go down by 1-2%. But I think for this country with, the same old, I would say, demographics and middle class coming up and everything else, I think India stands out as one of the most resilient in terms of growth. And I would say over a period of time, the fastest growing economy in the world, both in terms of GDP as well as corporate profit. And because we have underperformed, I think now the valuations are not that high. It is still not very cheap, but not that high. And I think a 15% growth in India for corporate profitability is very, very visible.
Saurabh, one question to you. Right now in India, we have a set of companies which are growing and they are being rewarded. In last 1 month alone, the companies which come out with phenomenal numbers, stocks are up 30%, 40%. But it's a very small set of stocks which is trading at a very high valuation. And on the other hand, you have companies which have not delivered numbers. IT companies, for example, which are available right now at dirt cheap valuation or perhaps the lowest multiples in the history. Which one do you choose?
So देखिए, मेरे ख्याल से मार्केट में एक सागर मंथन लाइकली है. सो जो कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन स्टोरी, एंड आई एग्री विद सुनील, कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन स्टोरीज की अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ स्पार्कलिंग रही है मार्च क्वार्टर में. ओवर द वीकेंड वी वर आल्सो एक्सल्टिंग कितना बढ़िया आ रहा है कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन ग्रोथ. बट वो कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन ग्रोथ के पीछे काफ़ी सारा हाउस होल्ड लेवरेज है और मेरे ख्याल से गिवन द महंगाई का ज़माना, गिवन द ऑयल प्राइस हाइक्स, the oil, both cooking oil and crude oil price hikes, and given the outlook for the monsoon, मेरे ख्याल से the consumption driven story will face a challenge in F27. जहाँ पे अनुज मुझे ऑप्टिमिज्म है, आई थिंक एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पे मुझे काफ़ी ऑप्टिमिज्म है, गिवन वेयर द करेंसी इज, गिवन द टेरिफिक फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट्स. we've looked at the Europe India FTA in detail. मेरे ख्याल से ज़बरदस्त फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट किया हमने. एंड चाइना प्लस वन इज़ अ रियल स्टोरी. द वेस्ट डजंट वांट टू डाइवर्सिफाई. वेस्ट में फार्मा कंपनीज, ऑटो कंपनीज क्लियरली हमको बोल रहे हैं कि 2027 के अंत तक चाइना के ऊपर डिपेंडेंसी 50% से घटानी है. सो ऐसे माहौल में अगर हम रीथिंक करें इंडिया का मॉडल अवे फ्रॉम डोमेस्टिक कंजम्पशन विच हैज़ बिन आवर मेन स्टे फॉर 30 years. 30 साल से हम डोमेस्टिक कंजम्पशन पे भागे हैं. आई थिंक अब टाइम आ गया है, वी फोकस on using the currency, the FTAs and the world's realignment away from China to build a manufacturing export oriented economies. जो हमारी सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत है जॉब क्रिएशन, by focusing on manufacturing, वो मुद्दा भी मेरे ख्याल से काफ़ी हद तक रिजॉल्व हो सकता है. बट स्टोरी बदलेगी मेरे ख्याल से, इंडिया की स्टोरी बदलेगी अवे फ्रॉम द पुराना स्टोरी ऑफ डोमेस्टिक कंजम्पशन टुवर्ड्स अ मोर ईस्ट एशियन स्टाइल एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इकोनॉमी.
विकास, वेरी क्विकली, अभी आप कहाँ ऐड कर रहे हैं, ग्रोथ स्टॉक्स में या वैल्यू स्टॉक्स में, इफ यू हैव टू मेक एनी काइंड ऑफ एडिशन इन योर पोर्टफोलियो?
या लुकिंग फॉर ग्रोथ एट रीजनेबल प्राइस, बिकॉज़ अल्टीमेटली पैसा ग्रोथ में ही बनता है. आप कोई चीज को सस्ता खरीद लोगे उससे पैसा नहीं बनता है, बिकॉज सस्ता हमेशा सस्ता ही होता है, कोई कारण है उसका, राइट? तो अल्टीमेटली इन्वेस्टिंग का वन होली ग्रेल, आई थिंक एवरीबडी सेज दैट, you know, buy growth at a reasonable price. Buy growth at any price has no meaning, but buy growth at a reasonable price has a lot of meaning. At least that's a philosophy we followed, irrespective of the market cycle. I don't think that should change, whether markets are in this cycle or that cycle, right? And India, in my opinion, is one of the very, very few markets which offers a structural, sustainable growth for a very, very long period of time. We can see that 6-7% growth with 4-5% GDP inflation. Our corporate earnings can grow between 13 to 15% for a very sustainably long period of time. That kind of returns can come, from the markets. So, which is a very good return, sustainable return for a very long period of time.
चलिए एक लास्ट टॉपिक पे बात करेंगे, और इस टॉपिक में मेरे पास हमेशा एक मुंबई लोकल की एनालॉजी होती है. For those of you who travel by Mumbai local, first 3 or 4 years I traveled a lot. Even now, if traffic is big, then if you prefer. So in the morning, the local is all packed, right? And all the handles which you hold, they're all occupied. Sometimes one handle is being occupied by 2 or 3 people. It's somewhere around the 11 o'clock, 11:30 that if you want to go for a joyride, you can do that, because then you get aram se. Similar is the situation of that bell behind you, Vijay. Last 1 or 2 years, रोज 3 लिस्टिंग हो रही थी, किसी दिन 5 लिस्टिंग हो रही थी. आजकल तो लिस्टिंग होनी बंद हो गई है ना. बड़ी कोई आईपीओ की लिस्टिंग का इनवाइट आता है तो ये सारे लिस्टिंग भी हो रही है, नया आईपीओ भी आ रहा है. सो ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आई वांट टू आस्क यू, हाउ इज द आईपीओ पाइपलाइन लुकिंग, बिकॉज यू विल हैव ऑफ कोर्स अ लॉट ऑफ डेटा, and compared to last 3 or 4 years, do you think this time we'll get some quality IPOs? Because towards the end of the last 3-4 year cycle, some of the IPOs were really questionable.
I think the year just went by was a record year in many ways for IPO. In Q3 alone of the last fiscal, we saw some 39 IPOs, almost 1 lakh crore got raised. And if you look at the whole year, although Q4 was a little weak thanks to the uncertainty, but the pipeline still remained strong and robust. Despite that, about 1 lakh crore got raised, 90,000, 80,000 crores got raised. So for the full year, we had close to 1.8 lakh crore getting raised, large record number of IPOs. So it was a great year for IPOs. Today, at NSDL, we deal with over 1 lakh dematerialized companies. So just to give you a sense, out of, I think 5,800, 900 companies are listed. So there's a huge runway of companies aspiring, to participate in the India growth story. Not going to happen tomorrow, but over a period of time. So I think the pipeline from that point of view is getting ready, waiting for the right opportunity. There is, these are great signs of a, inherently strong demand, and we see, IPOs go through their cycles, which are in many ways reflective of the market sentiment. But last few years, we've seen only secular growth if you just take away those cycles in between.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, the most awaited one, the building that we are sitting right now, right? The NSE IPO. और सब बस होप कर रहे हैं कब आएगा वो IPO. Last question, rapid fire. Everyone, I'm going to ask one question. Saurabh, to you, one sector you are bullish on for next 3 years.
Manufacturing exports.
Manufacturing and export. Sunil, one sector that you would avoid right now.
I don't like regulated sectors, so oil and gas I can say.
Oil and gas you would avoid. Because one word for market in 2026, 2027. Or one sentence.
Stay invested, and best price. I mean, good news and good price don't come together. So when you have bad news, that's the time good prices are there, and people who invest into bad times always turn out to be winner in a medium to long term.
भाव और भावना दोनों साथ में नहीं मिलेंगे. एक पे फोकस करना पड़ेगा आपको. Vijay, your last word to investor.
You're doing a great job. Just stay invested. Keep going. Take informed calls. Don't get swayed by influencers. And we are doing a lot on investor education. Follow it and invest safely. But continue to come in large numbers.
Continue to come in large numbers. That's good for our business as well, for media and for everyone. But thank you so much, all of you. Saurabh, Sunil, Vijay and Vikas, thank you so much for your time. And I think we managed to finish in time.
Yes.
Over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Just